What is up, guys and girls? I didn't forget you girls. It's your man, Pretty Ricky is what I call him, back for good with another Richie Rich retrospective review. And folks, I just want to say shout out to the Rich team. I really appreciate you lot for commenting, subscribing, sharing the videos to all of the masses. Continuing to enjoy these content. As I said, it's not easy. The talk I'm not Creole. It's not easy to produce regular videos all the time, especially when you're balancing work life, you're balancing relationship, and you're balancing all your other hustles. So just to get those comments, those positive comments, the negative comments also motivate me as well. But to get that, it really gives me more like determination to still continue, and consistency. Oh yes, is the name. I've actually we're on to like the final part. Beauty Shop that came out in 2005, just released a year after Barbershop 2 back in business. But as I was saying, I consider Beauty Shop like the definitive trilogy to the Barbershop series. Barbershop 3, the next cut, I actually was considering reviewing it. Then what happened was I actually had the file video to watch it, and I was just like, I can't even watch this movie and let alone review it. It's just that film. I'll talk more about it towards the end, but I never felt truly, and I know there's people out there that Barbershop 3, the final cut, really isn't with the Barbershop series. It just feels like a film that was made way too late, and it doesn't really have that flow of the series. It's a situation like Coming to America 1, which is praised and regarded as one of the greatest films of all time. Then you got Coming to America 2 that came out in a distant time where society, pop culture, everything had changed. And that's what you get pretty much with Barbershop, the final cut. Beauty Shop, to us, the Rich team, is Barbershop 3. Alright, so as always, I love to talk about when I first saw the Barbershop films. As I mentioned in the other two reviews, definitely check it out, and of course be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. And then so with Beauty Shop, unfortunately it was the same thing. I actually had another pirated movie, but this was a collection. So you could have a DVD that would have a Beauty Shop, it could have Barbershop 2, and then it could probably have like Hustle and Flow with Terrence Howard. So you'd get these like 6 movies in one DVD, which I still don't know how they did back in the day, because I used to burn DVDs and like rip them into discs before like the HDDs came out and the Google storage. So I remember those days of going to Africa and getting this place that would have all these DVDs in one, and they were actually good quality. That I remember coming to England and I was actually flipping some of them, and it's cool. So it was crazy. But yeah, that was the first time I saw Beauty Shop. My first initial impression of Beauty Shop was that I was like, it was decent. I was like, it's not, of course it's not as great as the first one, which I believe is iconic. I still believe the second one is still a stronger film than this one, but it was like a nice spin-off, which this film is a spin-off to the original film. What was very interesting was, as I said, around this time, the 2000s, that culture of like, the FUBU pants, the do-rags, 50 Cent, DMX, the new DMX, baby. The sitcoms at this time really tune into at this time were My Wife and Kids, The Bernie Mac Show, and One-on-One when I was back in England. And One-on-One, which was funny, they had a spin-off series called Cuts, and that was where Marcus Houston and Omarion from B2K went and had their barbershop, and they owned it there. And it was around the same time when this film came out, so there was this pop culture like little thing happening with like the barbershop era, because alright, okay, so let's tackle the cast and the story. So in the cast, the main protagonist, and I've said it many times, y'all know your boy has so much love for the Queen, UNITY, the Queen Latifah. I've said it many times. I believe she is what Will Smith is to the male public, the male audience. She is like that to the female audience, because again, you can't get too many who can act, who can, you know, rap, sing, can dance. She has all these talents in one. She's beautiful. I've always loved Queen Latifah, even from the early guest spots in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. She appeared in season 1 as Hillary's boss, and then she appeared in season 2 when Will was going to the prom, and he wanted to take fine ass me along instead of the let's say size the chunky Queen Latifah. But Queen Latifah's chunky, but she's fine, like always has been. She just has it. That's one of the things with her. She just has that X factor, and you see in this film because she just carries this movie. An actress around this time, she had really good hits, and I remember because I was going to the cinema with my buddies at that time. Bringing Down the House with Steve Martin, which is a very excellent film. I really am considering to review that soon, so definitely check Richie Retrospective. I'm gonna definitely check that out. She also had The Last Holiday, a very nice film starring alongside LL Cool J at this time. So pivotal, and it was so great that they were able to bounce and make this film just because of her supporting act in Barbershop 2. So it's really nice that she's able to get this in there. So you have Queen Latifah in here. The main and then, like, you could say the cast, you have Alicia Silverstone. A lot of people probably remember her from Clueless, that main hit from the 90s, and she also played as Batgirl in Batman and Robin. You have Andie MacDowell, you have Mena Suvari, and you have Kevin Bacon, which I believe his role in this, let me say, I'm someone who's always like loved Kevin Bacon. He's one of those guys who's just been around since like the 80s to now, and he always looks the same, always looks good and fit and shape, and I really love his role in this because he's able to actually hide under this douchebag character who's this European cum si cum sa boss of the hairdresser that Queen Latifah's character actually works in, and then she leaves, she gets fired, and she's able to go start her own business. So he's just a pain in the neck and a pain in the ass, and he's very entertaining, very comical. Some of the scenes that are really the highlight of Beauty Shop is when them two are in quarrels with each other, because it's the story of, she was really like on the bottom, on the tail end of the bottom pole. She was on the bottom, and she was able to leave, go out, struggle, and make her own business and become a success. And it was the people who really loved her. Some of the customers that went to George's hairdresser store, George's salon, George's salon, they actually left to go to Gina's new salon. So it just talks about the power of winning over the people. Of course, you've got Jermaine Unsu, again, fantastic Black African actor. You remember him from like films like Amistad, great film in the 90s, and you also remember him from Blood Diamond, which came around this time. And I also had a bootleg of Blood Diamond also. Yeah, don't say anything, we had to do what we gotta do. Rich team, come on. So, and then you also got, and also this film has a Keisha Knight Pullum from The Cosby Show. She's all grown up now. She's all grown up, looking great. And it has a lot of, let's say, small cameos throughout this film. So you got Lisa Ray McCoy, you got Kimora Lee Simmons, you've got not Cheryl Underwood, and you've also got Octavia Spencer, Andrew Leftas, Birdman appears in this also. You got Wilma Valderrama, and you also got Wilma Valderrama, and you also got Reagan Gomez Preston. So you got a lot of up and coming stars who were just getting their foot in the door, and now of course they've gone on to bigger and better things, most of them. So the thing was, when you watch Beauty Shop, I was almost going to call it Barbershop, Beauty Shop just has this nice light tone to compare to, of course, Barbershop 1 and 2. Of course, it's a film It's a film, of course, with pretty much dominated by females, and it's a good insight to the salon lifestyle, like the hairdresser. And this is a film I relate to a lot because my my mother was a hairdresser and had her own hair salon back in the late 90s, 2000s. So I remember like finishing school and going back there to go help her out. So I remember being in these places and seeing like the hair dressing equipment, from the blow dryer, the straighteners, the combs, the mirrors, all of those equipments. And I remember like moving them in at that time. So it gives it a lot of familiarity when I see this movie. And yeah, once this movie was out, I was actually working at that time and in my mother's hairdresser. So really, really cool. So going on to the story. So you could say the story pretty much, if you're looking at it from the barbershop too, from Gina's appearance in there, the film is not a complete continuation from Gina's role in Barbershop 2. Even though it's like, again, not that big, it pretty much starts fresh. So basically, Gina, who they give more of a backstory, she's actually widowed and she has her young daughter Vanessa, and she moves from Chicago to Atlanta. So it's no longer where the first barbershop films, where the barbershop films took place. This is now a different setting, different location. It's Atlanta, Georgia, down south. So like basically she moves with Vanessa so she can attend the private music school. The young daughter is mostly always playing the piano. Basically George, the Kevin Bacon's character George, he's like the Austrian boss. He, again, he's just a douchebag. He just basically disrespects most of his staff. You can see a lot of the staff there are just kiss asses, like yes boss, yes boss, yes. And basically he has an argument with Gina, with one of the customers, that I believe Gina allows Alicia Silverstone's character to finish off with like the hair, while she can attend to someone else. And I believe there's an error that happens, there's a mistake with actually making the hairstyle at a good quality. Once George gets witness of this, because he believes he's been warning her, like, you better get your act together and all this. I believe she quits or he fires her, but it pretty much was just like, she just came to a point where it said like, enough is enough, I don't need this shit, I can go somewhere else and make my own business. And that's what she does. She leaves, and Alicia Silverstone, like, they follow her, and then after a while you see some of the customers at that George's salon, they go to Gina's new salon in Atlanta. And Gina gets to the salon because basically the hairdresser was already there, but of course they were not doing any well. The best way to describe it, that hairdresser before Regina comes in, is it was just ratchet. You basically had the most loudmouth, sassy, I don't need a man type of chicks who weren't doing nothing. Like I said, we're just sitting there talking about like ga. Gina came in, and it's really nice because she has to be very quick witted and very quick, like about like now she's not an employee, she's now the employer as a businesswoman. So you see, especially in the early scenes of when it comes the differences of being a boss and making those difficult decisions of firing someone, of course standing your ground and doing what's the best for the whole business to thrive, and most importantly, get more customers. The girl from the Cosby Show, Keisha, that's Darnell, she comes into work because she's basically, when Gina comes in, she basically has to like kind of reshape this whole store, and she gets a new employees to work with her. And like I said, the cast is really nice. It's such a different variety. It's very fun as well, where Alicia Silverstone, who was there, is like the whitest girl coming from the south, and she has an accent, and she's there with these sisters. So there's a little, of course, like talks with like you could say like colorism and even race, where like the white girl and the black girls and how they're divided. The race is really talked about because there is a guy called Bryce Wilson James, who's this, I believe he's a convict who got out of jail, and he's able to even get a job in the barber store, a job in the salon. And this guy, again, he's tall, dark, handsome, It's basically like the attention for all these women. It brings more customers, and they say looks don't matter, but he gravitates to the white girl. All the sisters in the store for that James, when he comes into the store again, all these women are like all attracted to him. They believe it, they see him as eye candy, but they also believe he's a little kumsi kumsa because some of his comments, the way he dresses, the way he touches himself, because they don't see him with any chicks, even though these girls are throwing themselves to him. He then ends up hooking up with Alicia Silverstone, Lynn in there, and this causes a lot of friction with the sisters. And it's such a concept that's even now of seeing like a black guy who is basically desired black woman go into the white girl. Jumonsu, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He's playing George. He's the electrician who basically lives upstairs from the salon. You can see that he's even developing feelings for Gina, and he actually helps the daughter with the piano lessons so she can improve and get prepared and get ready for her recital at that show. And you can see how them start to get more close together. And I love the even chemistry between those two, because it's like they don't have to say too much. They speak more with their eyes. Very soft spoken. Slowly but surely, you see Gina start to pretty much get used to working in the salon. Like, she starts to get customers just from word of mouth, as I said, cameos from Lisa Ray McCoy and Kamora Simmons. They start to spread the word like, yeah, there's a new management, the salon's doing well, and everything is going peachy. What happens then is George, who is like in the background and he's scoping, he's like driving by in his Mercedes and seeing like, where's all my customers going from my salon? He's there, he walks in and he finds out that Gina's doing well. He basically sends like a type of agent to Gina's store to basically say that we're gonna have to shut it down if you don't pay this type of fine or you don't pay this type of expenses. They didn't know. Gina didn't know, not towards like the end of what George was trying to do. And towards the end, the climax of the film, like George was able to get some people to vandalize the whole store. It's a good time to say like, look, maybe the dreams is over. Hey, maybe this is not for me. But of course, we all know Queen Latifah is a strong, powerful woman. She doesn't let it say die. She doesn't give up. And again, she just uses her way and uses the connections that she's been around with not to let this be the end. And she's able to even get George's, the Austrian guy, who it turns out when they meet at the end, this is towards the finale, and she confronts George back at the salon. It turns out George was putting that accent on as a front. He's not from Austria. He's actually he's from the States. Yeah, because when Gina goes to confront George, he's basically able to find he basically was given a videotape. That was that little kid who was just bugging all these girls in the salon. He recorded some footage of George basically giving money to that agent, that inspector I talked about, of like trying to like put her out of business. Once she finds the videotape, she confronts George, cuts off his hair, and she basically says, look, you may have like vandalized, you tried to put me out of business, but I'm not going to give up. This is not the end of Gina in Atlanta. This is me, baby. I got this. I'm there. And it turns out, even though they have to kind of rebuild and construct, throughout the movie, there's a woman who's on the radio that they never show her face completely. They show just from here and nothing upwards. And it turns out that this lady actually came into the store. It was played by Adele Givens, Hollering Helen. So she's the one who was on the radio for the whole time. Once she comes to the store, and because I believe she had to go to a wedding or that, and she needed to get good, and needed to look really good, get a good hair makeover. She goes on the radio, which is listened to all around Atlanta, and she promotes the beauty salon in great light. And this is then able to bring like customers to the store. So it's a nice ending to a very pleasant movie. Right. So just before I give my final thoughts to Beauty Shop, 2005's Beauty Shop, of course, I want to go on the soundtrack. As I remember, I don't. If you honestly ask me, I don't remember the music artists or soundtracks from this film compared to, of course, the two previous installments. Looking at it now, it said they had songs from Call Me, Don't Ya from CeeLo Green, Randy Muller. They had George's Salon, Aber Guest from Frederick Mulder. They had Jackie Christie and Fresh Jorio and Chris Neal, WL Jingles. So I'll be honest, I have not really listened to the Beauty Shop soundtrack, and even even in the intro and the ending and even throughout the movie, I could not honestly tell you I remember some of the sound track in there, or even the scores. As I said, the movie is very lighthearted, very similar to what you see in Bringing Down the House and Last Holiday. So the music is very reminiscent to those movies, but you could not honestly say I remember those signature tracks like in Barbershop 1 or even in Barbershop 2 compared to it. But maybe this is something I'll have to listen to after. My final thoughts on Beauty Shop. When these movies came out, I either had the DVD or the pirated version. I never went to cinema for none of them, but I watched these movies when they came out. And as I said, the barbershop culture and also the beauty shop salon culture at this time was pretty big, especially for me. As I said, I used to work in my mother's salon, and my barbershop that I used to go to, you were on the same road. So I really adore seeing these movies of this time. With this film, I remember when I actually first watched this, I thought it was better than Barbershop 2, because when I first saw Barbershop 2, I actually just wasn't impressed. And the reason was, it was just because how good Barbershop 1 was. I didn't feel Barbershop 2's story was that I didn't gravitate to the story in Barbershop 2 as much. And I always thought Beauty Shop was, again, just some lighter tone. You got these females now, and it's a nice spin-off, and you've got the electrifying Queen Latifah, strong performance again. I always thought that Beauty Shop was a movie that I returned to, and that's what happened. Back in the day, I would always watch Beauty Shop more than I would watch Barbershop 2. 20 years from now, after watching all three of them together, I'd have to say Barbershop 2 is still superior to Beauty Shop, and here's why. The main thing is the cast. This is the number one thing. The cast in Barbershop 1 and 2 is an all-star cast. You've got again, Ice Cube, Cedric, Queen Latifah, Eve, Michael Ealy, Troy Garrity, Sean Patrick Thomas, Keith David was in it, and I know there's some people I forgot, but you had a pretty much all-star cast in there. So even that you had Ice Cube and Cedric pretty much at the top, you had all these supporting characters that pretty held this film up to this high prestige. Where you see in this film, Queen Latifah, as dominant as she is pretty much that she is carrying the film. There's people here you could say that were up and comers, but even if you look at today, I wouldn't say a lot of them from these films really went on to big, greatest successes like the cast that were in the first two films. You know, like Alicia Silverstone, for example. I don't think I've ever seen her in anything since this film. The Keisha, the one from the Cosby Show, same ones. You understand? So, and it's not me like putting them down or denying it, because the cast works well. I would definitely say the chemistry from each female in the beauty shop, the workers there, is great. Like, they all gel together. It's a great harmony that they have to them, but it doesn't have that, how can I say, that powerhouse feeling that the first two films had. And even as I said, Barbershop 2 is a step down from the first one. Still, it has just that it just has that A-list type of film that this doesn't have. Another thing also, but this is one thing I will praise. I believe the villain in this, as comical as it is, it's way stronger than the one in Barbershop 2. Because Barbershop 2, there is no really antagonist. It's just those two guys who are trying to build new businesses in Chicago, right next to Craig's Barbershop. Yeah, Calvin. Sorry, I said Craig. Calvin's Barbershop. The first Barbershop, I really loved that. The main antagonists were Anthony Anderson and Keith David's character. And I really like the way George was just a douchebag, and there's really provides some entertaining scenes in this film. So I believe the villain in this is a big standout in this film. I think another positive in here is the location. I loved the idea that they went away from the Chicago scene, because again, you've already seen it in the first and second. Why not change it? Let's go to a different scene, new location, and we're introducing now these new characters into now Gina's salon store. So that was a very nice touch to it. But other than that, just a nice go home family film. I don't think Beauty Shop has the rewatchability that the first two watch. As I said, I would watch, as I watched them, I watched 1, 2, then Beauty Shop. But Barbershop, the first one, maybe the second one, it can change, but I always feel like those films I can just watch singly by itself. I feel Beauty Shop I would have to watch in the trilogy together. But this is a decent, good film. Yeah, I definitely, as I said, I definitely believe after looking at it that Barbershop 2 just edges it over a little bit. It's not like a big difference because they're pretty neck and neck, but I still think Barbershop 2, only because of the cast, is a stronger film than Beauty Shop ultimately. But other than that, it's a nice film. It's especially again for someone who came from that culture, who was working in the salon at that time, who was getting the rich fade all around the same block in my neighborhood back home in UK. It brings some warm memories, and I definitely recommend Beauty Shop to you all out there. Review of Beauty Shop that came out in 2005, starring Queen Latifah as the top role and Kevin Bacon as the main villain. Let me know what you thought about the Beauty Shop, the third film in the Barbershop series. Let me know what you think of Queen Latifah playing like the lead role again. Let me know, and even give me some stories of what you felt of, again, for the females out there going to the salon, going to the hairdressers. How was your experience even when you were at this age watching this film for the first time? Put it all down in the comments section. And yeah, like I said, I'm gonna stop the Barbershop series for now. I don't want to review Final Cut. I did say I would talk about this in the end, and yeah, with the problem with Barbershop 3, the Final Cut is just it's a different generation for that film, and this is a problem what a lot of films do nowadays. Is something that was really good at one point of time, they try to recreate that 10 or 20 years now, and they don't understand like the whole landscape of the world has changed, and that's what really affects Barbershop 3. It would have been better if they just did another spin-off from maybe another character from this Barbershop series. They could have done just a movie with like Eve or Troy Garrity. You know, I would love to see that and see Barbershop 3 the final guy. But hey, this is just my opinion on this. But yes, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And yes, stay tuned for the next retrospective review. And just remember that this year is my year. This year is your year. Take this year by the horns and make sure you achieve everything that you want to do, because we all got to know that success is a sniff away.